Brooklyn Nets have been buzzing with excitement recently ever since the announcement of the eventual lifting of New York City's vaccination mandate. If the mayor actually ends up deciding to lift the mandate, we'll be seeing Kyrie Irving finally join the Nets as a full-time player. Stay tuned as we give you the latest updates on the situation. First up, Unvaccinated Worker. So far, we've only seen Irving play in 14 games this season, and honestly speaking, he's been a real asset for the team. He's averaged around 24 points with 5 assists and almost 5 rebounds per game. However, things haven't been looking too good this season for the Brooklyn Nets. With Kevin Durant's ligament injury and Kyrie's status as an unvaccinated worker, the Nets are in 8th in the Eastern Conference standings, just behind the Toronto Raptors. But at the end of the day, it's his personal choice. He's well aware of the impact his decision has on the team's performance. Because let's face it, with Durant out, a lot of that responsibility to carry the team forward falls on Irving's shoulders. The Nets are about 8 games behind the Chicago Bulls, and we only have 23 games left in this season. It's a tricky situation. The decision to relax the city's vaccination mandate still has no time or date, and neither does Kevin Durant's return. If the situation stays the same, Irving will only be available for maybe half or even less than half of the season, keeping in mind that he's only allowed to play in away games. Next, just a fan? Believe it or not, a lot of NBA fanatics are actually starting to call Kyrie Irving a fan at this point. And if you think about it, they're not wrong. He's only going to be available for 8 games out of the remaining 23. Sorry, Irving, but this time around, we also agree with them. You're just a fan. It's hard to make a real difference when you can only play 8 games, not to forget the fact that you probably need to win all 8 to reach the top of the conference, and that looks highly unlikely. There is a lot of enthusiasm, though. New York City's mayor also expressed that he's really eager to get the city back to normal, and if things do go back to normal, Irving will finally return to the Brooklyn Nets as a full-time player. According to recent updates, the mayor can't wait to get it done. Now, the coach's expectations. Steve Nash has a lot of expectations from all his players, but when it comes to Irving, he's been getting really vocal about it. It's probably because the current situation is hinting at his possible return as a full-time player. When asked about Irving, Nash said that he expects him to be part of each game this season, and not just 8, provided the mandate is lifted. Steve Nash also expressed that Irving has been a really big part of the team, even when he's not participating on the court. He's always present at individual trainings and has a lot to add when it comes to the team's plays, moves, and strategies. And while expectations have been really high, the coach is still pretty grounded on the matter. He claims that the team and management have been really patient about Irving's return since nothing is in their control. It's the mayor's decision, and he'll do what's best for the city and not just for the Brooklyn Nets. We're guessing Steve Nash has accepted the harsh reality for this season, and he doesn't want to let anyone know just yet, but it gets obvious each time he has something to say. The optimism is equally matched by reality, because even if the mandate is lifted and Irving does come back, it's a little difficult for the Nets to make it to the playoffs, let alone lift the trophy this season. Next, Kyries Confidence. On the other hand, Kyrie has been really bullish on the Nets' performance after his semi-return and the acquisition of Ben Simmons. He's been telling NBA fans to keep their eyes open for the new Brooklyn Nets, but nothing seems to have changed. Are we missing something, Kyrie? On Monday, Irving told the press and fans to watch out for the Nets. Just watch. According to him, if the team is healthy and everything works out, the Nets will have a championship run. It's bold and honestly a little hard to believe. But listen, we get it. He's a passionate player. He loves his team. He loves the sport. He's trying to be positive no matter what the situation. But where is he getting all this confidence from? Still, we need to give him credit for one thing. Kyrie Irving is probably the biggest cheerleader and fan of the Brooklyn Nets these days. Unfortunately, fans and experts do not share the same confidence as Kyrie, and it's no surprise. Remember, if the mandate isn't lifted, he only has 8 games. Maybe he's just a cheerleader and a fan this season after all. Or maybe Kyrie Irving is starting to get really personal about things. It's sort of like Michael Jordan. When someone used to challenge him or had something snarky to say about the team, he would always take it on a personal level. Maybe all that criticism on the Brooklyn Nets has made Kyrie really emotional, and now he's getting personal about it. In any case, we don't think anything will come out of it this season. Let's not forget, Kyrie played 14 games this season, and the Nets have only won 4 of those games. Now, in other NBA news, don't trade LeBron. King James has been taking some serious shots at the Lakers management these days. To keep things simple, let's just say that James is really upset because the management did nothing during this season's trade window. And to be fair, we think James may have taken it a bit too far when he indirectly took shots at Rob Pelinka over the NBA All-Star Weekend. And now, fans have some mixed views on his presence at the Los Angeles Lakers. Some fans actually think that getting rid of LeBron James is probably the quickest and easiest way to bring the team back on track. It's a little hard to digest, chest, but also makes sense. LeBron James is without a doubt the biggest superstar in the NBA, but at the same time, it can end up being a bit costly since he can sometimes be bigger than the team. However, four-time NBA champion and legend Shaquille O'Neal had a few words to say about LeBron and the Lakers. According to O'Neal, trading LeBron would be the biggest mistake the Lakers can make this season. He further added that those in charge for making the team are actually at fault. Why? Well, because he thinks LeBron is not surrounded by the right players. It sounds kind of biased, to be honest. He's talking about surrounding James with players that can help, but it's actually James that needs to step up. Not to forget, he's an NBA superstar. He should be the one supporting the team and making the plays. It's like building an entire team around a single player. He's not going to be at the Lakers forever. His contract will expire in 2023, and he'll go play wherever Bronny is. And the Lakers won't have a team. Next, an easy $468,000. After hearing about this, you'll be wishing you had a few vintage tickets of a big game just lying around and collecting dust somewhere in a drawer or a closet. It's like making one of the biggest trades of your life. Spend 19 bucks and make a whopping $468,000 after 38 years. That's exactly what happened when Michael Cole, an avid Chicago Bulls fan, bought tickets to Jordan's debut final game in 1984. We think it's wise to say that unfortunately, he couldn't find anyone to go with him and the tickets ended up going unused. Fast forward to 2022, both tickets sold for a massive $468,000, and Cole is relieved to have finally gotten rid of them. We're not used to having paper tickets anymore because everything is digital right now. And considering the tickets were the key to watching arguably the best player in the history of basketball, the price tag seems justified. However, we're still not sure what the buyer will do with them. Maybe it all comes down to how passionate you are about the game. Lastly, Steph Curry is an alien. Even though we're just spectators of the game, there's always a player that makes us feel confident. What do we mean? Well, when the clock is running out and you're trailing by a point or two, you want him to have the ball. This is probably even more relatable if you're a Warriors fan. When Curry has the ball, we're confident and comfortable. We know he won't miss. And despite being the world's best three-point shooter already, Curry has once again proved he is an alien. He literally broke the internet after a video of his pregame ritual went viral. He took a shot, sank it, and took a step back. He did this 16 times until he reached the half-court line and started his way back to the free throw line. And you guessed it, he did it 16 times without missing a single shot. Thanks, Curry. We had our doubts, but not anymore. Now we're sure you're an alien. So folks, what did you think about today's video? Will a full-time Irving actually make a difference to the final standings in this season? Should the Lakers trade LeBron James? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.